Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie Podcast. Hopefully, having a great week. It's another Thursday. We're back at it again. It's crazy. Week after week, and it's flying by. So, before we get into today's episode, just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist and the Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf ball. For the best in the world, the goal is to improve every day. Same goes for all of us dedicated to this game, and it starts with choosing a golf ball you can trust. The Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X have set the standard for performance, and now they've just got better again. Both models are engineered with high gradient core technology that delivers lower long game spin for more distance and more consistent flight. And of course, you can expect that trusted drop and stop greenside control, so important to shooting lower scores. Pro V1 is the best combination of distance, spin, and feel in the game and delivers a penetrating ball flight. Pro V1X, my ball, flies higher and spins more in the short game, while still giving you low spin on longer shots to maximize your distance. Outperform your best. Learn more about the new Pro V1 and Pro V1X at Titleist.com. So we're back here another Thursday. It seems like these weeks fly by. It's crazy. The older you get, the faster it goes. But had a good week last week. I didn't get to go, didn't golf over the weekend, but did play in the league. It was a little bit of a struggle. I wouldn't say it was a little bit of a struggle. It was definitely better than what the previous 2 weeks. So I played. My score wasn't necessarily any better. I shot a 42, which is one stroke better, but I hit the ball phenomenally. Well, not phenomenally, but I hit the ball a lot better than I did the first 2 weeks. It was literally 2 holes that kind of killed me. And literally 2 shots that really hurt me. One was the tee shot on 2. I hit hybrid off the tee, just snap hooked it into the trees on the left. Had to punch out, hit a wedge a little long, and that just kind of made a little mess of that hole, made double. And then after that, on the par 5, I walked up, just smoked a drive right down the right side of the fairway. I had the Cobra Dark Speed X with the LA Golf A-Series mid. Hit that thing right down the right side, just ripped it. Really good drive, probably the best shot of the day. And then walked up and hit just a heeled hybrid into some muddy, like a really soft kind of muddy area left of the green, and I kind of chunked it out of there and didn't get it up and down. So I made a number there. So literally, if I take away that 3-wood, maybe just lay up with an iron, and I hit a decent a playable tee shot on 2, I'll shoot 40, and then then it's a whole different ball game. But went out there and like I said, hit it a lot better though. Walked off the tee on 1, just took that same 3-wood that I messed up on 8 and just piped that thing right down the middle. So there was a lot of good things that went on there, and I think feeling better. I think I'm figuring out a little bit of what was causing problems with the game. Just the shots I was hitting were not great, and a lot of it I think stems from just one, my takeaway's terrible and I'm close at the top, and then also as through the swing, my arms just getting away from my body. So been working on that a little bit. Was hitting balls in the old net and mat today, so was working on that as well. Again, I'm recording this on like a Wednesday night, so was hitting some balls and all that. But it was a good week. So I'm kind of excited for this week. I'm hoping to hit it a little better. What's in the bag is set. I'm actually now putting my What's in the Bag on YouTube. If you just go under Golf WRX, I'm doing little videos of what's in the bag every week. So that is there. Before we get into the product, I guess I can just do the quick rundown. We're going to go driver, of course, start at the top. Driver, we're going to go the TSR2 head. My Titleist TSR2 head. I think it's still good. For people who, are worried about new things passing those by and whatever, the TSR stuff is still really good. So anyway, TSR2 and rocking the new whiteboard. So I'm going to put that in there. I hit that in the rain. Last week? Hit it in the rain on that Sunday. And I hit one drive with it on the back 9. Right as we made the turn before we got shut down, I hit that and just hit it great. And I thought it felt really good, everything. So I'm going to bring that out because we're playing the back 9, and I'll hit driver at least 4 times or so there. So I'm going to bring that. I'm pretty excited for that. 3-wood is actually literally, I just literally built it today. So we're going to go TaylorMade QI10, the standard model, 3-wood head, and I just put a UST Mamiya Link Blue M40X in there, the 70-gram version. So I had a 70-gram version. I was waiting to see what I wanted to put it in, and I put it in there. It just dried. I just cut it down to length. Cut it at 43 inches, a little longer than I usually go, but cut that. So it just needs a grip that I'll throw on here after I record this podcast. And then I'm bringing the old Ping G437 wood out there. That's got the Ventus TR Blue 8 stiff. And then we're going to a 4-iron that is the new Mizuno Pro Fly High 4-iron. I really like that thing. I've hit it well. It's got a steel fiber. What is it? It says something like an HLS 880. It's like a long iron / hybrid shaft. But I've hit that thing really well. I think it's a higher launching than the previous version. It definitely gets up in the air quicker. Got a really good soft feel to it. I also got that. And then for irons, we're rocking the PXG 0317Ts. Yes, the foam-filled ones, which I've played recently before, but and then they have the Project X, or the LA Golf A-Series low 105s, so that has a 105-gram LA Golf A-Series shafts in them. And then wedge-wise, we're going SM10 in the 50 degree and 08, an 08 F grind with a USD Dart 105 that kind of matches the iron shafts a little bit. Flies just a little bit lower. And then we're going to Ping S159, 56, and 60. So the 56 is the H grind with 10 degrees of bounce. Really versatile, plays a little bit more bounce when you play it square. And then the B grind, which is 8 degrees of bounce in the 60, but has kind of a wide sole, so when you open it, you definitely get a little more float there for stuff out of the trap and all that. And then putter-wise, going with the PXG Brandon Battle Ready 2. And that thing's got a Stability 1 full graphite shaft in it and a Super Stroke Pistol 1.0. So that's the setup this week, and I think I'm going to play the Callaway the Chrome Tour X will probably be my ball there. I've got a sleeve of those set out, so should be a good setup. I'm excited to hit it, and it's going to be good. I think, like I said, I'm feeling a little better each week about the game, so hopefully I can get moving. I'm in tied for dead last place with my father-in-law, which is not great. I've got 21 points, and I think the leaders have 46 points, so I'm not out of it. I mean, we do 2 points a hole, and then we have bonus points and all that, so I'm not out of it necessarily. But yeah, I've been struggling there. The other problem is like last week, or was it last week? No, it was 2 weeks ago. I played like the course because the guy I was supposed to play wasn't there, so I played the course. I didn't play well, and it's like the guy who was on there got like 14 points. I got like 8. I was like, come on, man, like this is stupid. How does he get bonus points for a low net score when he's not even there? But whatever, it's all good. So anyway, that is league. Like I said, tied dead last. I'm tied for 21st, and yeah, hopefully I can start inching my way back up, and hopefully make some birdies, make some pars, and make a few less bogeys. So that is the goal. But today we're going to talk about some Mitsubishi shafts. And we're going to talk about 2 of them because there's pretty much 2 new ones, and I've been hitting both of them a decent amount. So let's get rolling with it. We're going to start off with I guess, the one that most people were familiar with, most people were that excited about, and that is the Diamana WB, or the reissue of the whiteboard. So this here is the new whiteboard. Most people have seen it. I think it looks pretty cool. They went with kind of a matte black with, still has kind of a bunch of the flowers up near the handle section, surfboard for the Diamana, and then the WB, and went back to the basically weight series with the 3s in them. So 43, 53, 63, 73 there, which is kind of a nod back to the old Diamanas. But the Diamana whiteboard, there are some very strong rumors that we may see a blue and a red later on. We may see a blue one sooner and then maybe a red one later. But that is potentially coming down the road. But I've been hitting this a little bit. I took it out, did a little video on YouTube with it, kind of talking about it on course. I've been playing with it here, like I said, a little bit, and hitting it also on the old launch monitor as well. So I've been hitting it a bunch. I do have to say, like I said, the matte black is pretty cool. I like all the flower stuff at the top. The flower stuff is, I was told by the guys at Mitsubishi, how that is basically paying homage to in 2004 when they brought the first Diamanas out to tour. It was in Hawaii, and they brought them out, and it was basically a connection between Hawaii and Japan, just kind of a paying respects and all that. And then of course the surfboard, but it looks really cool. The matte black is all good. I kind of wish it was still the heavy, really flake silver, or the ion-plated silver. I wish it was still that. This to me reminds me of like the D Plus, that or the D series that came out. Not so the D Plus, but the D series that came out shortly after that. Didn't quite have this as rave reviews as the original Diamanas did, but still looks cool. So all matte black, easy to build up. Nothing too crazy there. Built this things up. These are playing 45 inches. I didn't put my little sticker on here, but basically playing to 45 inches in. The TSR2 is what I build them in and measure them because every head can have just a slight variance. But built this one up. No tipping. It's a 63X WB, and I've got a Z cord on here. Which is a grip I don't really play that much, but I had a couple of them that were a guy in the office, had a few of them that he left in my drawer, and just had a couple left over, so threw one on here just to be a little bit different. But it's not a bad grip. It's something that I haven't played in a while, but definitely is a little rougher than my usual guys, but it also is just a little bit thinner as well. My cheap Amazon King Grasps tend to be just a little bit thicker. So I like the look. I think it looks good. I think the matte black shaft and the black head of the TSR2 looks pretty sweet. It's just kind of that murdered out stealth look. But the WB, if you're not familiar with it, the whiteboard is the low launch, low spin version of the Diamana, and this one is fits that bill. So it's low spin, low launch, or that's what it's built around, and it's built on a profile that is basically a firm handle section, a little firmer, firm plus, as Mitsubishi calls it, mid section, and then a medium plus tip section. So a little bit softer profile than I think a lot of people expected in a sense. I think when everybody says low launch, low spin, they expect ultra stiff handle, ultra stiff mid, ultra stiff tip, just everything to be crazy stiff. That doesn't necessarily need to be the case. So a lot of this was taken, though, from the original whiteboard. They said in terms of the profile, it was heavily influenced by that. And I do have to say that it does feel pretty good like the old one. That was the one big thing about Diamanas. I remember when they came out. I never owned a whiteboard. Hit a bunch of them, borrowed a few, did a few, and the whiteboard was so cool because it was low launch, low spin, but it just felt great. It was really smooth. You could feel it load. It had a little kick to it. Everything about it was really good, and I didn't have that kind of cash, so I played what we kind of called the poor man's whiteboard, which was the Grapholoid Pro Launch Red, and that one did not feel as good and as smooth as the whiteboard did, but it did, produce some low launch and low spin, and it was pretty stable. But basically took the very similar profile from the old whiteboard, put it into this, but added all their new tech. So they've got 80-ton dial-lead pitch fiber in the handle section, so they can add a little bit of stability. They've got some 46-ton carbon fiber that's kind of different plies that is basically used to reduce torque. And then they also use Mitsubishi's X-Link X-Link technology, which basically removes some of the resin, makes it more carbon in the shaft, more graphite in the shaft for better feel and more consistency. So a bunch of new materials and stuff in here with an older, or not older, but with a profile that's kind of leaning towards a shaft that was insanely popular on tour. And while I haven't seen a million of these on tour, there are a ton on the LPGA tour. Tons of people on the LPGA tour playing it. When I looked and did a little, I think we did a little Instagram post of the top 10 women's players, LPGA ranked women's players. There were 4 of them using this shaft. So pretty cool. They make it in a 43 all the way up to, I believe, a 73. I don't think they did the 83, which I know a lot of people were a little bit bummed at. No, they do the 83. So they went from 43 to 83. And the 43 actually comes in an X. You can get a whiteboard 43X. Heard a lot of people say they really like the 53X. This is the 63X, but heard a lot of people there liking the lighter weights of this because it is stable. It doesn't it isn't loose. It's tight, and even at the light weights, you're still going to find a lot of consistency and all that. So a really good shaft. But yeah, I really like it. I took it out. I was a little worried when I took it. Looking at the kind of the softer handle, just because as you guys kind of know, I tend to lean toward shafts with stiffer handle sections, but this one here, right when I took it out, I started hitting shots, and I was really impressed with it. I hit it really well right out of the gate. The first time I hit it on course was with the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond head, and then I also put in my TSR2. So those are the 2 heads I've been hitting in the most. And so far, like I said, I've been really impressed with it. Just it loads easy. It's got really good feel. Even as a 63X, and I've slowed down. Today I saw some 103s I put up there on the old launch monitor. I had some 103s, some 102s. but I'm not anywhere near that 104 to 106 area that I used to be at. But even with that, I still feel like this shaft, you can feel, like I said, I can feel it low to the top, and down when my hands start to decelerate, you can definitely feel it, it kick. It's not the most aggressive kick out there, but it's got some flexibility, it's got some feel to it. And for a lot of these low launch, low spin shafts, that's what I don't see at my speed. Mostly because they're probably a little too stiff, and if I went with a stiff flex, it would probably be better for that. But I usually go X just because it fights some of the left that I fight, and it kind of helps there. But really like the feel of it at impact. It's very responsive. With them matte black, I kind of expected it to have. For me, I always thought kind of the original D series that were kind of painted like these almost had kind of a little bit of a brittle or hollow feel to them. This one doesn't. Definitely solid. You do notice a little bit more vibration when you catch it on the heel. If you heel it, which is always kind of like the worst shot for shafts, it kind of adds the most vibration, the most stress to the shaft. If you do low heel it a little bit, you will feel a little bit more vibration to the hands in this thing. But when you hit it solid, hit it off the toe, you're rewarded with some good feel to it. But again, very responsive. Like I said, if you hit it off the heel, you're going to know. Hit it off the toe, you're going to know. And when you flush it, you can actually get that feel of the ball compressing off the face of either the AI Smoke Triple Diamond or the TSR2. Both of them perform really well in that arena. But when I was out on course, I mean, yes, I can still draw it. Yes, I can still really hook it if I make a really poor swing. But good swings definitely reduce some of that left. Played a straighter ball with this than some other shafts that I've recently played, which is kind of nice. Definitely long. I was out there, and if you haven't watched the little video on YouTube, when I was kind of out there playing with it, on the 14th hole at Dearborn Country Club, which I am not a member of, but they were nice enough to let me out there to play the back nine really early in the morning to kind of just film. I had this thing out there, and on that par 5 is I think 550 yards long. From the blues, there is a black set of tees as well, but from the blues it's 550, and I've hit some good drives there. You basically, everything kind of goes left around this massive tree, and then you kind of go down. You kind of go down this little valley and then up to the green. And for me, it's always been a hole that's been tough for me. I've never played that hole really, really well or very consistent. And went off, hit driver there, and it was the best swing of the day for me. And it was downwind. It was a windy day. I'll fully admit it was downwind. But I was right next to. I was in the fairway on the right side, right next to me. There was a marker sprinkler head there that said 251, and to the center of the green. And I had never been that close on that hole ever. I've always been 260 out or whatever. I've just never been that close. And my best days downwind, I've been 260 out and hit that. So not to say that this is necessarily like this magic stick of crazy, crazy long, but I think potentially, if you're hitting it good, you could definitely hit some long drives with this thing. And I know low launch, low spin shafts don't necessarily come out as being the biggest ball speed creators, but I hit a really good ball there, and I've consequently hit a few others that have just been really, really good shots with this thing. So out there in the course, played it really well. Like I said, hit it off the toe. The toe hooks are definitely reduced a little bit. I think the first shot I hit when I was doing that filming, I hit a little toe hook, and it held on. I was basically on the left side of the fairway, which was perfect. I think I hit like 2 or 3 balls in that hole, and I think basically one was in the fairway, the other 2 were like just in the kind of that first cut, but really reduced amount of draw that I thought. Because when I hit the first one, I thought for sure it was in the woods. I was like, well, that's going to be in the trees. I've hit that. I've had that swing before. It wasn't, stayed in play, and the same thing. I went to the next hole, 11, which is a par 5. That you got to kind of split the fairway between these 2 massive bunkers. And I basically aimed at the right bunker and figured it would draw back, hit it. It just went dead straight. And I didn't hit it perfect, so I figured, it went dead straight, but it'll fall short. I'll be in the fairway, and it rolled all the way to the bunker. So was not expecting that as well. But really solid shaft up there. Really, really, as I said, really stable, very straight. And, even if you kind of go after it, as people say, it'll hold up with that. If you're just having your normal swings or, something where you got to hit it a little softer, it seems to play well with that as also. So everything I saw ball flight wise, very penetrating. The apex was not sharp at all. It was very flat. It was just that boring, kind of trajectory that you watch. And the ball, while it is low launch, low spin, it isn't crazy low. This isn't the lowest shaft, launching shaft I've ever hit. Nor is it, I would say it's not the lowest spinning either, but it's probably pretty close. The Diamana or the Graphite Design VF is probably the lowest spinning for me, and this is just a little bit higher than that, but not by much. I mean, we're talking, 150 RPM, something like that on average. So very close in terms of low spin. Which is, in some ways that boring low spin flight, it's nice because when the wind hits it, the ball, keeps penetrating through there, goes straight, hitting into the wind. You're still able to pull some distance out of it, but really like the feel of it. I think it's still easy to square up. I mean, for being a stiff profile, it's easy to square up. You don't have to work hard to make sure that you don't lose it right. You can get it to go straight without it wanting to go hard left. And for me, that's kind of like the perfect thing to find is if I could find a shaft that does that. And this does it pretty well. So I've been really impressed with it out on the course. And then I was hitting it, like I said, out on my my mat earlier today to get some numbers as well. So I went out there this morning and kind of expected just to hit a couple. I had a couple driver shafts to hit, and I just kept hitting balls with this thing because it was really, really good. So the numbers I'm going to read you here are going to be actually with the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke. Triple Diamond, just because that's what I had on here because I was using the TSR2 head for some other shafts, so I just threw the Smoke Triple Diamond on here, and that's a great combo. I think it is. It's really low spin, but it definitely is a great long combo out there. That is for sure. And I mean ball speed. Basically, I averaged 149, which, like I said, I saw some 101, 100, 101, 102, 103 type club head speeds out there, which was kind of nice to see it get back closer to the 104 to 106 that I used to play. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, I did definitely swing this thing fairly fast. But ball speed there was 149. Was my average, and again, I don't take away less than perfect shots. I mean, if they're totally topped or whatever, then yeah, I'll remove them. But if it's a shot where you just don't hit it great, I'd leave it in there. So 149 is that. Launch came in at 10.1. So 10.1 on a 10.5 head. I'm not a super high ball hitter anyway, so that there is pretty. I don't want to say low, but that's pretty just slightly below average for me. If I'm in that like kind of 11 to 12 range, that's kind of what I aim for. But like I said, came in about 10.1, and there were a decent amount of shots that were a little bit higher than that or a little bit lower than that. But you get a couple off the face to average it. The higher off the face to average it out and stuff like that. So 10.1. And then spin number 2150 was my average spin hitting balls there, which is kind of crazy. Like I said, the only thing that maybe is lower than this is the VF for me, but really low spin. Now again, I draw the ball. I typically miss out there a little bit on the toe. You'll rarely see me hit too many like low on the face that just spin like crazy. And when I was looking out there, basically everything ran between 25 to 2600 and down. I mean, there were a couple 1900s in there and stuff like that. So I mean, it definitely can get low spin, and like I said, for me, I'm not a crazy high spin guy. I typically miss it, high off the toe, and hit some pretty low spin hooks out there. But 2150 was my spin, which is kind of borderline like too low for me in my ball speed. It's just I could probably get a few more yards out of it if I could hit it just a little bit higher and maybe add just a touch more spin. So my average carry for this thing was 247, hitting everything else. I was actually hitting it, fairly solid. Hit a couple that were definitely longer than that, but 247 was the average there. With a smash factor of 147. So 147 I thought was pretty solid overall. I did have a one or two 139s in there, but I also had a lot more, 148s, 149s that were in there compared to those low ones. But really solid. I like the way this thing plays. Like I said, I think it comes out. I won't call it the lowest launching shaft out there. I'll call it, low. I like that there's mid, and then I consider this mid-low, and then low-mid, and then low. I'll consider this low-mid and low spin. But a really solid option. I like the feel. I think it's really stable. It's not crazy stout. Now, if you get in probably the 73 and 83 gram versions, I bet they're pretty darn stout. But for the 63, definitely playable. And I think for somebody who's looking to reduce a little launch, but definitely reduce some spin, this thing here is definitely worth checking out. But the new WB is really solid. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, and I do. I think this is definitely one of those things that if things go well with it, I could see this. I could see this kind of being a gamer in the in ahead there. It's just I've been really consistent with it, so we'll see how it goes. Full 18 holes later on, but right now, really impressed with it and really happy with the WB. I think Mitsubishi did a really good job with this shaft, and I think we're going to start seeing this in a lot of bags for who knows on tour. There's a lot of trends there, but I think we're going to see these in a lot of bags of higher speed and higher spin players out there. So really, really solid. I liked it. The WB 63 was definitely solid, and how cool are some of those flowers there on the old shaft band. Kind of cool. So then there's little ones you can kind of take away. There's like the small X's or the small little X pattern of those flowers you can kind of take from the old Ahina days and stuff like that. So there's some cool stuff in there that makes you think about some of the older flower bands and flowers they did, just throwing it back, which is kind of cool. I like there's a little bit of history in that bad boy. But that is the Mitsubishi WB. If you want to check out more of it, see what all the options, all that stuff, MitsubishiGolf.com. And you can go check out more on the Diamana WB or whiteboard. But it's a really, really solid option. So before we get into the next shaft, just want to let you know also, episode brought to you by OluKai. And listen, have you heard of this company, OluKai? OluKai. It's two Hawaiian words that mean comfort and ocean. And their shoes deliver. They're making golf shoes now that are as comfortable as their legendary sandals. I'm definitely one of the sandal wearers. I've been wearing them for years. I absolutely love them. And maybe you see them on the Brian Bros or Grant Horvat. Take it from us. You will never want to take them off. Available in both men's and women's. Waterproof leather and sporty styles. Spikeless. Great spike sole. Tons of traction on it. Totally designed specifically for golf. Get a pair now at OluKai.com. They've got the heel that you can actually knock down and just wear it as kind of like a slide if you want to just kind of roll into the 19th hole, hang out with the buddies, collect your money, whatever. But OluKai is a brand that, like I said, I've been wearing their stuff long before I've ever knew they made golf shoes and all that. I was wearing their sandals. So check out OluKai.com, OluKai.com, and check out the golf shoes, and hey, check out the sandals as well. Why not? So next thing we're going to jump into is another shaft, and it's another Mitsubishi shaft. And as I reach back on the wall, it's going to be the new Mitsubishi Tensei 1K Red. So actually, I always mess that up. It's the 1K Pro Red. So the Mitsubishi Tensei 1K Pro Red, and this bad boy is, again, I think one of the cooler looking shafts. And you look at some of the 1K stuff, I think that 1K fiber up in the handle just looks really cool. You get into kind of that little holographic Tensei logo on there. But the red is one that it's cool to see it come out in the 1K, because I feel like Tensei Red was always that shaft that was basically looked at as the made for shaft. It was the Tensei Red was made for, it was the high launch option in, the high launching or lightweight head or all that. It never came in anything really kind of heavy duty. It was just not really, it was never really looked at that highly. It was just kind of looked at as just kind of an everyday whatever shaft for somebody who needed to add some launch. And people probably looked at it and said, well, launch is high, it's probably going to spin a ton, it's probably going to feel like a noodle, all that. So it's really cool to see them come out with the 1K version, because the 1K Pro versions are typically ones that are using, Mitsubishi's, latest technology. They're using the best materials. They're using this, as they call it, this super premium, super thin 1K fiber up in the handle section, for basically increased strength without adding too much weight. It's got the X-Link resin tech, just like the whiteboard does. Full length MR70 carbon for added strength. But stiff handle section, softer tip section. It's even got boron in the tip, which boron basically putting in there. It's for compression. So as the tip flexes, the boron can compress. It adds some feel to it. But they just basically put a lot of tech into the 1K Red, which is really cool because I feel like it gets kind of it gets the short end of the stick when it comes to respect out of all the Tensei models. Everybody loves orange, everybody loves white, everybody loves blue, and red kind of goes by the wayside. And nowadays everybody loves black as well because it's low launch, low spin. But this is going to be the higher launching or the highest launching 1K model in the Tensei lineup. They basically list it as a mid plus launch and mid spin. So they list 1K Blue is mid-launch, mid-spin, and this is as mid-plus launch and mid-spin. So to me, I think it comes in as kind of like mid-high launch. A lot of people will say compared to Ventus Red, and in a way, it is similar that way. Stiffer handle section, softer tip, but it's basically got a stiff handle section or a firm plus handle section, mid kind of stiffness, middle section, mid tip. So when you play this thing, a lot of the flex you're going to feel is going to be basically below the hands. You're going to feel a lot of the middle to the tip of the shaft kind of working as you load it at the top and as it kind of kicks at impact and releases that stored up energy. That's where you're going to feel it. But probably one of the best feeling shafts anyway. I mean, the Tensei 1K lineup is really good. They feel really solid. I thought blue felt really amazing. This may feel actually a little bit smoother. And again, I think it matches up to my swing a little bit because I think it does play, compared to the whiteboard, this is a 60X, that's a 63, X. This does play or feel a little bit softer in terms of just the overall flex. Now, it's a totally different profile. That's low launch, low spin. This is, mid-high launch and mid-spin, so they're totally different. But this one definitely has kind of a softer feel to it throughout the swing. If you're a guy like me who's kind of riding that line that you probably should be a stiff, but you play a little bit of X, this one here, you're definitely going to get the most kind of feel out of it. You're going to get kind of the most action out of it, and you're going to feel like it's kind of generating the most ball speed for you. But really good profile. I know I think it was like Johnny Wonder has like the 70 TX or 80 TX and like his 5 wood. I think this is one of those shafts that you're going to see a ton of because they make it in a bunch of different weights, which is really nice. But they basically go from a 1K Pro Red 50 all the way up to an 80 TX. So you can get the 50 in TX as well it's 57 grams, but 50 TX, 60, you can go, and then they start at regular, and then you get into, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But I could definitely see this being a big-time 70, 80 gram, throw it in 3 wood. If you're, somebody looking for more launch off the deck, you're going to be able to get it off this with still having something that gives you control and is accurate and consistent. Same thing. I played this thing in a few different heads now. I most recently had it in the PXG 0311 Black Ops head, the super forgiving one. When I got fit into that, I got fit into a 9-degree head, and for me, that's sometimes a little intimidating. So basically, through this thing, I've been thrown in a few different heads, but I like playing it in like those 9-degree heads where I know I need a little bit of added launch, and it does give you that. But you know what? Again, kind of like I found out with like Ventus Red and Ventus TR Red, it is not as high launching and high spinning as I thought it would be. So I thought this thing was going to kind of launch to the moon in a way. The 1K Blue kind of launched, a little bit higher than I thought. So I thought this for sure. This actually comes in just a little bit lower for me. Comes in just a little bit lower launching for me, and it doesn't spin a ton. I was actually kind of shocked. I'll give you the numbers in a minute, but I was actually kind of shocked of the spin numbers they were as low as they were. But overall, I really like the profile. Like I said, I'm just gravitate towards shafts with stiff handle sections, and I don't mind a little bit of launch because I don't hit it super high. Again, I love the look. I think it looks really good. Once you get it in there, again, feel is really solid. You can feel most of the flex kind of happen underneath kind of that red band that sets this thing as the Tensei. All the flex feels like it happens kind of under there. And when you load it, you can kind of feel that thing kind of build up. And as your hands get down to the bottom and start decelerating, the shaft just keeps going. And the kick is definitely noticeable, definitely hard. And it feels like this thing's trying to get, take that stored energy and really give it back to you and create some ball speed. And it's a really good shaft. But like I said, with that, I mean, a lot of times when you look at higher launching, softer tip shafts, a lot of people look at it and say, well, it's loose. It's kind of, it doesn't go where I want it to, or it's not as consistent, or I put a good swing on that and it didn't go where I thought it would go. For me, everything I've hit with this thing has been really solid. If I miss it, I miss it. I know where it's going, and it goes where my misses go, which is typically left. I get steep, hit it off the toe, have this kind of flat little, hard hook out there, and that's what I get. And when I hit it solid, it throws the ball in the air a little bit higher, and it goes a long way, and it goes far. It's really easy to hit, and I have yet to feel like it's loose, like I'm same thing, like I'm getting shots that aren't going as straight or aren't going, near as accurate as I think they will. It is really still a tight shaft, and it feels that way. It feels accurate, and as accurate as I can be in terms of picking spots and hitting them. If I put a good swing on it, I know where it's going, and I haven't questioned one shot that I thought, went to the left or went to the right or did something that it shouldn't have. But yeah, definitely plays really well. Really good soft feel. On mishits, you definitely get a little bit more vibration dampening with this compared to the whiteboard, especially that low heel shot. You get a low heel here, it definitely mutes a lot of that vibration. You can still tell, the responsiveness is still there, but compared to the whiteboard, especially on the heel, it's a little deadened. You don't quite get as accurate, vibration to the hands with this as you do with the other, but, for the most part, you're still going to know just from the sound and everything else that you mishit it. It's just going to feel a little bit softer with this Tensei 1K red. But yeah, very good shaft. I like it. It definitely kind of, I put it in that mid-high category. I don't think it's much higher than that. Other people are going to ask, compare it to, the Ventus Red or whatever. I feel like this one here, you feel a little more flex in the handle than, say, like TR Red. But I think it launches kind of similar to the original Red if you've, played a Ventus product. But mid-high launch, and I'll say it's mid to mid-low spin, depending on the player. I think everybody's going to be a little different in how they load it and all that. But for me, I think it actually spins a little bit less than some of the other mid-launching shafts. I'd have to go back and hit it against blue, but I almost feel like this spins less than blue for me, which is kind of crazy. But a really, really good option for kind of that mid-high ball flight. Whether you're hitting driver, whether you're hitting fairway wood, I think this can be one of those really cool things in a like an Apex UW, where you're playing a wood shaft there, you want a little launch because that thing comes out flat. This thing being offered an 80 gram as well could be a really cool kind of setup in something like that where you don't want to overspin it, but you want to get it in the air. This thing works really, really well. But a really stable shaft for being mid-high launch and kind of mid-spin. This one here, ball speed kind of on average 148. I didn't feel like I hit this as often in the center as I did whiteboard in the Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond head, because that's what I was hitting this in. I feel like I've hit it better in some of the other heads, but I was out there hitting it in that head, so that's what I did. But 148, so it was about a mile an hour slower than the whiteboard in the same head. But again, I think I had a few more kind of more toe-ish or heel mishits on this than I did. I just wasn't as consistent with this shaft in that head. 148 there. Launch was 12.1, so basically 2 degrees higher than the whiteboard for me on this thing, which makes sense. Usually I don't see that big of a jump between different shafts, but yeah, about 2 degrees difference between this and the whiteboard, which again, it should. Low launch, mid-high launch, right there. Now, the spin number is the one that I was kind of crazy that came down lower than I thought. I averaged basically 25.51. Now, I think I saw balls go higher than that as you were hitting them. Saw some stuff in the 26, 28, 100 RPM range. But then also, again, as a draw guy, hits them off the toe. Saw some really low ones in that 2200 arena as well. But 25.51 was my average, which, that 24-ish range is kind of where I live and where I like to be. And this thing is, just a hair above that, but much, like I said, lower spin than I thought. I thought this would be one of those 26 to 2800 shafts all day. And even though it is a low spin head, it definitely was a bit lower spinning than I thought. So 25.51. And my carry on this was 245. So a little, even though I was hitting it higher, I just wasn't carrying quite as much ball speed. And on average, I was seeing, I'd see 1 or 2 balls that would get out there like the whiteboard did, but for the most part, I just wasn't getting the smash factor as high. Like I was only a 146, or in even that I thought was high for what I was seeing. A lot of 145s and stuff like that. So just wasn't hitting it solid with that head. It would be interesting. Like I said, I want to kind of throw it back in one of those, either the QI10 Max or the PXG head or something like that, just to see kind of where it goes. But a really, really good option. If you're looking for mid-high launch, want a really good feel to it, and you don't want something that has crazy amounts of spin, but you want a lot of options, between 50 and 80 grams. Most shafts, there's not a lot of 80 gram stuff out there, especially if you can get 80 gram in stiff X or TX. I mean, to have 3 options is pretty rare, but a really good option there. I think it's one of those shafts that's just not getting as much respect as it probably should, and hopefully, people will give this more of a shot as the season goes on. But Mitsubishi did a really good job with this one, and I think it's going to be underrated and kind of overlooked by a lot of people, but it definitely should be tried. People should give it a whirl and see how it goes. But that is the Mitsubishi Tensei 1K Pro Red. Again, if you want to check out more in terms of the specs, all that, MitsubishiGolf.com, and check out all the specs, see everything they have. It's they're offering a lot in both these shafts, which is pretty cool. I like having options for players. So those are 2 shafts. Those definitely both will be in the rotation for sure. Nothing is really out of the rotation for me. That's the interesting part. It has to be a little rough for me to kind of get out of the rotation for me. So definitely in the rotation. Whiteboard for sure. It's going out tonight in the league. That'll be in the bag, and that Tensei Red. You'll definitely see it pop up here and there in terms of out there. So that's all I've got. Those are my items. So hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Hopefully you're going to play some golf. I don't know if I will. It's going to be Mother's Day, so I don't know if I'm going to necessarily try to jet out and play some golf. But if you are, wherever you listen to this, please like, subscribe, whatever. If you're watching this on YouTube, which you can, just search Club Junkie. It's there. If you like, subscribe, that'd be awesome. And then also, if you want to follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. It was great doing Q&A today. I love doing all the Q&A stuff. So we were doing Q&As. If you ever want to ask questions, whatever, hit me up on there. And that's all I've got. So before I go, remember this episode brought to you by the Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Choose the Pro V1 if you're looking for a little more penetrating ball flight, low spin in the long irons, the driver, but still drop and stop greenside control. If you're looking for a little higher flight, a little more spin, Pro V1X. And go to Titleist.com. Check them both out. So anyway, that's all I've got. Hopefully you guys have a great week. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk next week. See ya.